Okay, we're going to get started in about a minute or so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get going here right now. First of all, thank you very much for everybody who came out tonight, and a very special thanks to all the people who came out to our last meetup. Those of you who were here will remember that last time we got together it was about 33 degrees outside. We had, I believe, a thunderstorm. I think we had lightning. We had torrential rain. We had hail. I think we might have even had an earthquake or something at the time. So those of you who braved it to come out here last time, I really appreciate it. Thanks very much. And of course, we all appreciate you coming out here this evening. We are the Montreal Internet and SEO group. My name is Bill Jamshedji, and I'm the leader of the group, so to speak. So that means I get to stand up here first, and you have to listen to me. You've got no choice. We have two co-organizers as well who are sitting over here. Vanessa Bolak, who has been with us right from the start and has done wonderful work. She does all the words that you see coming out, those descriptions and that of our meetups are Vanessa's, so thank you very much, Vanessa. And our newest co-organizer, Sophie Massé, who is over here. We are very happy to have Sophie, and Sophie is also doing the second presentation this evening. So if I could get a hand for both of these ladies for that. Thank you very much. A thank you as well, of course, to the folks here at Nachman House. Nachman House is the home of the web in Montreal. They've provided this facility for us free of charge, which of course we love them for greatly. And as you can see, they're undergoing expansion right now, so we're hoping for a new and better Nachman House in the near future. As to how near in the future, I'm not sure, but it's getting there. We are on Meetup.com. If anybody here isn't a member of our Meetup group, I'd encourage you to join us. It's absolutely free. Just get a membership on Meetup.com, which itself is free, and look for the Montreal Internet and SEO group. We have a Facebook group as well. The link to that is on our Meetup page. And also a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has a number of videos of some of our previous presentations, so if you happen to miss a few of the last ones, you'll find a lot of them up on YouTube, and with any luck, if the gods are smiling on us, you'll even find this one up on YouTube later on. And so tonight, we're doing two presentations, which is our general format over here. I'm going to do the first one, and as you can see, the title of that is the SEO update. There's been a lot of changes in SEO. It's of course a very dynamic field, and I'm just going to go over a few things that are either new or that have changed in 2013 that may be different. So if you bought an SEO book that was written in 2012, 2011, you can probably throw it away because a lot of stuff's changed since then. So what I'm going to cover tonight is the Google algorithm updates, basically just sort of a quick history of them. For those of you who don't know what an algorithm is, that might be kind of useful. I'm going to cover what is considered to be bad in 2013. Stuff that we used to tell you was really great to do that is now not really great to do. So if you're doing it, you got to stop doing this. There's also still some stuff that is good to do, so we'll cover that. And finally, I'm going to go over a couple of the new tools that you can use, a couple of new tools online that you can use for SEO, especially in light of the Penguin and Panda updates. And as is customary, the tools that I'm going to be showing you are all completely free. Okay, so the algorithm updates. Basically, for those of you who don't know what an algorithm is essentially a complex mathematical formula with a number of variables. In the case of Google's algorithm, there are about 200 variables in it, and these variables are all the different factors that Google takes into account when they're trying to rank your web page. So let's say, for example, your site is about dog training in Montreal. You probably want to rank your pages up there for key phrases like best dog trainer in Montreal, etc., etc. It's Google's algorithm that's going to examine those individual pages and see where it feels that they belong on Google. There are two updates that have come up in the last couple of years that have been of a lot of concern. Google's algorithm is constantly being updated, by the way. Since they started in 1998, they have continually updated it, but two recent updates in the last couple of years have caused a lot of grief and headaches for a lot of people. The first one was the Google Panda updates. And notice I say updates. these are not just one update. They're a series of ongoing updates. The first Panda update occurred in 2011, and they still occur up to today. In fact, I believe the 28th of July there was another Panda update. And these updates really affected a lot of websites. A lot of people who were previously on the very first page of Google, or even the very top of the first page of Google, found themselves on page 41, or didn't find themselves at all because they were actually dropped right off of the SERPs. And what Google's updates were designed to do was to prevent those sites that didn't really belong in the first place from being in the first place. Update that followed last year was the Penguin update. They seem to have a tendency to name their updates after animals that start with P, so you can speculate what the next one might be, parakeet or pig or whatever. It also does accomplish essentially many of the same things as the Panda update. It attacks the problem a little bit differently, but the long and the short is that both of these updates are here to try to make the search results more accurate. And this means if you've been practicing, let's say, some gray hat or, God forbid, some black hat techniques on your website, and you used to be ranking up there at the very top of Google, you probably aren't anymore. If your site is basically just a squeeze page and a sales page, etc., and doesn't have a lot of content value, again, these updates will probably have dropped you down. And of course, Google will continue to be doing updates all the time. And naturally, it's impossible to do the Nostradamus thing, predicting the future here. But there are some ways that you can kind of figure out where they're going with that. And in the resources at the very end of this presentation, I'll give you a resource you can use to kind of give you a heads up about what the next set of Google updates are going to do. And by the way, I should mention that a lot of our previous presentations, when I've used the word Google, I've also said this applies as well to like Bing and Yahoo and the other search engines. What we're covering tonight is pretty Google specific, although the techniques that we're talking about are useful to rank on any search engine. So for tonight, we're actually really focusing a bit more on Google than we usually do. So what's bad in 2013? Well, number one on the list, unnatural backlinks. For those of you who are familiar with what a backlink is essentially a link from somebody else's website into your website. And what an unnatural backlink is a result of an old SEO technique. The earlier versions of Google's algorithm played a lot of weight on the number of backlinks you had into your site. It was sort of an authority thing, because the thought was that, well, if your site has hundreds of backlinks coming into it, then it must be a valuable site. It must be an authority, and therefore Google will give you a much higher rating. Of course, as soon as people realized this, they started to try to game the system by going out and buying backlinks, by going out and creating sites that were basically like link farms, just to link the backlinks in, going on to places like Fiverr, etc., and buying a package of 5,000 backlinks. Well, Google really caught on to this. I mean, they're not dumb. First of all, unnatural backlinking patterns were one of the first things they hit, and they hit that quite a while ago. That's where basically you started a new website today, and by the end of the week you had 5,000 backlinks. Well, that's not a natural thing. That basically indicates you went out and bought them, because they should be built gradually. Secondly, backlinks that all look the same, etc., have the same text to them, was something that was pretty obvious. And then the link farms and all that, they knew which sites were link farms, and getting links in from them was a bad thing. So Google is paying a lot more attention to these unnatural backlinks, and if you have these pointing toward your site, then you can be in serious trouble right now, especially with the recent Penguin updates. Now, of course, you're going to be thinking about this and say, well, backlinking is something you don't always have control over. I mean, for example, I can backlink to any one of your websites right now from any one of my websites, and you may or may not appreciate it, but there's nothing you can do about it. Well, there actually is, and one of the tools that I'll show you at the very end of this section is something that you can do if you find indeed that you have these backlinks from a bad neighborhood pointing at your website. Consistent anchor text is another thing that is bad in 2013. Anchor text is the text that a backlink uses. For example, the most common anchor text in the world is "click here," because you'll see these sentences like, "for more information, click here,"